You're able to shapeshift into a specific animal if you're choosing, wholly or partially, but you become more emotional and aggressive, and reacting with anger, excitement, etc. causes you to shift no matter who sees and no matter the consequences.
No, I would not press the
I mean,
button.
I would not do that either. But the thing is, I feel like with a lot of these, I'd rather just like, oh, it's 50-50. Wow.
Really?
I would rather just like not press honestly any of these buttons because I don't want to. I feel like I'm fine with how I am at right now. You know what I mean? You can temporarily take over the body of any person on Earth, and you can turn back into yourself whenever. But they die 5 minutes after you leave their body.
I would do that. What's the downside?
Yeah, I guess I would. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 59% said yes.
I mean, all you got to do is just not transfer into the body. Right? Like, you don't have to use the power.
You can be in any show you want for however you want without dying or something bad happening to you. You have to have ginger hair the entire time you're in the show. I guess I'll take this.
I'd have to get what?
You'd have to have ginger hair the entire time you're on the show.
Oh, yeah, bro. Of course. Sure, why not?
74% said yes.
Yeah. You know, what's so bad about being ginger?
I know there are some bad things.
Oh, rough, Tony.
Yeah, all the ginger viewers out there, I'm sorry. It's just, yeah, it's just how it is.
Oh, my goodness.
You'll become the most famous and loved person in the entire universe. But after you die, you'll be completely forgotten by everyone and everything. You'll be removed from history forever.
I don't feel like I need to be the most loved person.
Yeah.
And so it's like I feel like I'm pretty neutral on this, in all honesty.
I don't really give a shit either because if I'm dead, like I don't really care if people remember me for being such a great person. I feel like I just want to be who I want to be.
That's how I feel too. So it's like, you know, I kind of like I guess I would press the button, right? You know, because like I can be the person that I want to be. I guess I can be the person I want to be without that. But I don't know. I'm a little bit indifferent on this.
Well, I would say the thing is, like, I feel like a lot of society is like just pretty cringy in general.
Yeah.
Just like if you're loved by everybody, it's like, you know, you're kind of, which means you're probably famous.
You gotta deal with all that during your lifetime.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like, I don't know. It's like I'd rather just like. It's kind of hard to explain. It's an opinion that I have. That's like, I just feel like society is like, it just tries to be too social. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
No, that's a good point.
People just really care about how they portray themselves.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's a good
point.
point.
Like how they present themselves. They want to be like. People want to, you know, they want attention, you know, and I just don't really give a fuck about that kind of shit, so.
Yeah. No, I would not press the button. That's a good frame. I feel like if you were famous, you know, or and loved by everyone, so to speak, then there is all of that baggage that comes with it. And I don't really want all that baggage.
Yeah.
You know.
All right.
Who was it?
58%
do you know?
yes.
Oh, really? Do you know Stavros Halkias? He's a comedian. He's pretty funny, dude. I've been listening to him a lot lately. But he's got a little. I heard him say something like, I don't respect any billionaire that I know the name of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, for sure. I totally feel the same way.
But I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I respect Elon Musk because he's so successful. But it's like, you've never met the guy in real life.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
And like, I've got a buddy who like has so many idols, you know, like, oh, Kobe Bryant's an idol. Like, Elon Musk because we pay him.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like I don't really know why you'd want to be like somebody. Like I just, you know, like why don't you just want to be like yourself? You know?
Yeah,
like,
for real. Strive to be yourself.
Like I feel like everybody. I think like competition in sports is very entertaining.
Yeah.
I think it's very entertaining to watch like a pro hockey game, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like a lot of people like want to be a pro hockey player. They want to be a pro basketball player, a pro football player. Like, I would never want to be that shit, you know?
Yeah. I am not searching for the limelight.
You can bring about world peace, but you must sacrifice yourself. You must first sacrifice yourself. I will not do that. I think like the world is just not designed to be.
Yeah, I would.
The opinion of the world is not designed to be a peaceful place, and that's like what kind of like makes it like cool is that like humans like not all the time, but they work things out, you know?
Yeah, I can understand that, and I also understand the like how are you supposed to trust that? You know what I mean? Like if you are if you're gonna sacrifice yourself, how are you supposed to trust that world peace comes from that? You know what I mean? Like the only time in history that has been the case, it more or less has caused millennia of violence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the only time in history someone has been like, yes, I will sacrifice myself so that you can have peace. That more or less has brought just like long-term violence.
Yeah, 59% said yes.
Really? That'd be a hard one. Because it's like, in theory, yeah, I would. Right? In theory, for sure. But also, in reality, it'd be like, I don't know. I don't really agree with that in the aspect that, yeah, like, the world needs conflict in a way. And also that, like, I don't think that would actually happen.
You become the greatest player in your favorite sport, you're unbeatable. You only make 25, but you only make 25K a year if you choose to play professionally. Though you can still have another occupation.
No, this is a bad one. Let's skip. Let's skip.
Yeah. Let's skip that. Some guys like, where's the downside? Yeah. So many people said yes. What the fuck?
We both already.
See, as I said earlier, like I don't think people realize that being a pro athlete is not as good as you probably think it is. Like, if you're really that obsessed with a sport, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and don't get me wrong, like. I do a lot of sports, like I'm pretty fit generally. I like exercise, like I do it almost like every day, but like it's like being a pro athlete, you're literally just like all you do is play that fucking game. It's like it's pretty cool to be able to play a sport casually.
Yeah, I think it's cool to have hobbies.
Yeah, but I guess going back to some of those questions earlier, they kind of had me thinking because I do like to think about these type of like questions about fame and everything, you know?
Yeah.
And like I've always wondered what was like what is so desirable about fame that humans find, you know? Like
yeah,
I want to be able to go take a walk in the park and not be hassled by everybody. Like Ronaldo said like if I could pay for people to not go up to me and like ask me for my autograph or for a picture like every time, like I would pay as much money as I can.
Yeah,
and then that certainly makes sense, you know, like
it does. And so I find it weird that that's a route. I think what it comes down to is like like being well respected and that sort of thing. I think that's kind of universally, I don't know, beloved maybe. But it's like that, and then people find that fame might be the most reachable out of those. But I also agree. I don't really get it. Cuz I definitely like my privacy.
Yeah.
And I think that there is some level of recognition which I understand, you know, but not so much fame for a mask. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some fabrication. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Fame for the sake of fame. Or riches for the sake of riches. That doesn't really make sense to me. Yeah, it's not about that, right?
Yeah. So I guess okay. So like, here's another thing, right? Like when I was younger and I used to go to all these like pro surf contests, like with my friends to go watch pro surfers surf and stuff. Like one of my buddies would always be trying to go up to all the pro surfers after they would come back in from their heat and try to get their autograph, and they're getting bombarded by people like trying to with people like trying to get pictures of them and stuff. And like the thing is, like, I don't want to like the thing is that like I people view these pro surfers as like gods, right? Like they're like people in the surfing industry, they think like, oh, like these guys are gods, like they're way above me, you know. And like the thing is that like I don't really know if they really want to just be bombarded with people like that just because they're so good at surfing, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
well, you hear that a lot too, at least with like interviews and stuff like that. How people just say that I'm just a normal guy, you know, that whole thing. And that's part of the reason why I think that a lot of YouTubers have gained a lot of popularity, or at least like some of the speculation within like the meta of entertainment, right? Some of the speculation on why YouTube has been so popular is that people are just who they are, so people feel like they can connect better with them. But it's also weird to think that anyone's on a higher platform than anyone else, right? That
I
doesn't
mean, in
make sense to
reality,
me.
there is one type of platform, I guess you could say. And it's like if we were in an apocalyptic world, like the people who are literally like the fittest, the strongest, the fastest, like the smartest to they're going to
Leaders,
yeah.
leaders,
Yeah,
right?
like a leader might be on like a higher like might have a higher rate of survival, right?
Yeah, and so I think that when it comes down to, because you can, I think it's hard to say in a what if scenario ever, you know what I mean? To say if we were in an apocalyptic scenario, et cetera, et cetera. I think that it's much more, I don't know, realistic to say that given the scenario we're in, where fame and money and influence, right, does somewhat result uh in a better lifestyle or more of a leadership position, right?
Yeah.
Um then I think that is one reason why people put these other people on pedestals and stuff. Um but I don't think it's healthy, right? I don't think that it's a good thing to do, and I don't think that the people who are in that position are even wanting to be portrayed like that, and in reality they probably don't even want their name out there all that much. You know, I have a feeling that the people that are household names, that are like Brad Pitt, for example, right? I guess at this point he's a little dated. but like the Brad Pitts of the world, they're just doing their job, right? And their job is to be a household name, right? That's how he gets work, and that's how he provides for his family, is by being someone that people talk about.
Yeah. But so here's the thing, right? It's like Brad Pitt is actually hands down, probably between him and Robert De Niro, those two people are like literally my favorite actors, right? Like anytime I see
I dig Brad Pitt, dude.
With Brad Pitt,
sick.
I'm probably gonna be like, that's probably gonna be a fucking good movie. Like I'm down to watch it. But I do not give a fuck about who he's married to. I don't give a fuck about like what charity he's giving to. I really do not give a shit. The only thing I give a shit about when it comes to Brad Pitt specifically is whether he is acting well or not. That's all I care about.
Yo, so are you worried about AI shit at all?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, like in what way?
Not necessarily that they're going to take over the world, but that humans are just like going to be really bad at like interacting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bad at interacting with it?
No, just bad at interacting with each other.
So basically, the same problems that we have going on right now are just gonna continue.
Not necessarily. I don't think it's bad right now. It's getting worse, but it's not bad right now.
But it's just gonna continue getting worse, essentially.
Yeah, like one day we're gonna have like, do you know who Becca is?
Becca?
Yeah.
No.
One of like Luis's old roommates. She was saying like one day she thinks that we're gonna have like, oh, my son like fell in love with an AI and I can't, and like all of a sudden like I can't really say anything because it's like it's going to offend people who are in love with AIs too much, like.
Yeah. I don't see a huge problem with that. I mean, I get why people see a problem with that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, in theory, right? The way I see at least that problem specifically. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm not afraid and that I think that we're interacting with it in the wrong way, more or less, I do agree with that. But I think that I think people were saying the same thing about black people in like the slave era.
You can't compare the two, bro.
No, you can't.
They're completely different. Like, it's like the problem with the thing with AI is that it's literally a robot. Like,
I can get the interspecies thing, right? Like, it is not of the same species. Thus, it probably is not the best. I think there's still... I think that that is the least of my worries. Right?
I think people are just going to become too reliant. Like, I really do not like ChatGPT. I think it's kind of silly how people are like using it to write their resume or to write their cover letters and shit. Like, I remember like Josh and like I don't know if you've done this, but like Josh and Chase were one time talking about how like, oh, I'm going to use shit to write my cover letter, but it's like, you can use it to write your cover letter, but you're not writing something original. And then they're going to be like, no, it's a cover letter. Like, I want to give myself the best possible chance of getting this job. But it's like, you didn't really get the job. You had a fucking AI write your cover letter for you. Like, it wasn't you who did it,
Well,
like,
that's the whole thing is I think in general, anyone, like, it's not really gonna replace work, Because that's just not how life necessarily works, right? Is that
you never know.
Well, there's a niche that humans fill in the ecosystem, right? And there's a niche specific humans fill within their specific, quote unquote ecosystem, within society. And I think that there is going to be a lot of competition between artificial intelligence and humans in order to fulfill that niche. And I don't think that artificial intelligence...
I think there can't be competition between the two because humans made that shit.
That's what exactly. Like, I don't think that humans would allow the competition to be there.
I don't know. I think, in my personal opinion, I think everything that we interact with online these days is designed to addict you. Like, and I think AI is just like way worse than like anything we've ever seen for that kind of shit. It's like you think you're interacting with a person, but you're not. Like,
yeah, I think that it is being designed to fulfill the roles that were once taken by humans, but also only like newer jobs of humans too, right?
Yeah.
So not like writers, right? I don't really think that AI is gonna take the place of writers.
Yeah.
But do I think that AI is gonna take the place of this is just a fake job, but like double checkers, essentially, people that are just overlooking and facilitating. Yeah, I do think that they're gonna kind of step in and take that role. For example, right? With my stream, I have like a playlist that goes, and before any sort of coding, I would need, but still within the realms of computers, so a very specific time frame. I would need someone to change the scene, change the visual on the stream at a time. And then since there has been some sort of integration, I can have that just change automatically. But I think it's hard. I think it is going to cause a wider disparity. That's my biggest worry, is that it's going to cause a even wider income gap between essentially those that can afford and program AI versus those that cannot.
Yeah.
And that's my worry, which I also feel like could lead to I don't know, violence just in general, like contempt in greater society. Yeah. But I support it. I mean, in all honesty, I think that to give it a blanket statement, I embrace it, and I think to push against would just be a misstep, right? I think I have no choice but to embrace it.
Yeah, maybe humans are a little bit too scared of it, but I just hope that I do see a push toward like interacting with like like human interaction going down.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure, but also the desire going up, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like
Maybe.
when I call someone, for example, if I call the IRS to make sure, like, I have a question with my taxes and that they're answered, I want to fucking talk to someone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk to a robot. And so I don't know. I think that there is some sort of balancing act that humans are gonna have to come to terms with, and we probably aren't going to anytime soon. I mean, if we're just being honest, um, I don't think that we're gonna come to terms with it within the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Hopefully within years of my lifetime. You know what I mean? But yeah. Hopefully figure something out, and yeah, I think that we really have no choice but to embrace it in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that resenting it and to be totally against it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the coding behind it is like so interesting.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's just technology, right? In all honesty, it's kind of how I see like solar panels and like, renewable energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the tech is awesome. Like you're telling me we can take the sunshine and turn it into electricity?
Mm-hmm.
That's rad. That's super cool. But to create any sort of politics or like social dilemma around it, I think is something that we'll, muddle through, of course, we as humans, but ultimately the coolest things survive. And I firmly believe that.
All right, how's your CS going?
It is fully installed,
Okay.
and now it's just verifying, so it's just like a quick little thing. But it just installed like a minute ago.
Okay.
30 seconds ago. But essentially the download is complete, and it is just verifying that it's all there. Yeah. So it's getting there. We'll play eventually, I promise.
Yeah. We play Wingman. Wingman's pretty fun.
Okay, sure.
Ever played Wingman?
I don't think I have.
It's a 2v2. It's super fun.
Oh yeah? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to be on the same team?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And I cracked my other beer. I did order some food. Yeah.
I got a therapist. I'm gonna go see him tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I have been considering getting a therapist, like BetterHelp, just online stuff, but
yeah, I looked into that. I personally, I definitely want like a person, like an in-person.
No, that
guy.
totally makes sense. That power to you.
Mm-hmm.
I did book a personal trainer.
Yeah, dude, I saw it. You were looking pretty buff last time I saw you.
Thank you. But yeah, so I've been working out like 3 days a week. And I decided to start seeing a personal trainer once a month, and then have them give me like just kind of like for a checkup, kind of make sure I'm doing stuff correctly, and then have them make workouts for me. And I am going to my first appointment tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're doing therapy in person?
Yeah. This guy's on Broadway. He's like Eastern Kits.
Let me know how that goes.
Okay. I've had 2 therapists in the past before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find it beneficial?
Yeah, super. Both of my therapists are like pretty good.
I don't think I've ever heard a negative response from therapy.
No, I remember like my ex-girlfriend, she was like, "Oh, my therapist is like challenging me too much." Maybe it was a good thing. I couldn't really tell, but she had not like a bad experience, but just like I wish my therapist would have said this instead, you know. But who knows? Maybe it was not. Maybe her therapist was telling her the truth. Who knows? But
no, but I mean, regardless of that, I think that there is a very real. I think therapy is kind of a hard thing in the way that it's hard to detect a bad therapist. And given the wrong patient, they're going to believe anything a therapist says. And people are allowed to be bad at their job.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know what I mean? It's okay, you know, just because you have a job title doesn't necessarily mean you're super qualified to do it. Like, you know, that whole adage of, do you know what they call a doctor who graduated with D's? Or, sorry, do you know what they call a doctor who graduated with D's?
Wait, say that again?
Okay, essentially, so this, I kind of believe in this mantra, right? Or adage, whatever you want to call it, this saying. And I don't know if you've ever heard it, but do you know what you call a doctor who graduated with D's?
What?
Doctor.
Doctor?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It means that even people that scrape by to get the certification and really might not deserve that certification. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They still can have the professional title. And not to diminish people who have worked really hard to get that title, but I firmly agree with the idea that you shouldn't trust all doctors, or that you shouldn't trust all therapists.
Yeah, but therapy is different because doctors can make a much bigger mistake, I think. Generally.
I think doctors can make a much bigger immediate mistake. While therapy may potentially fuck up someone's life long term, but show very little immediate results. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that in the same boat of like, you shouldn't trust all doctors or all people that call themselves doctor.
But also therapists generally, they don't give you as much advice as you think they do. Therapists just listen. They have like subconscious way, or they learn methods. Like in school, they learn methods. To subconsciously for you to subconsciously realize like how to approach so and so better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and I think most people do come out of therapy net positive.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know if I ever tell you this, but I can openly say it now. Like, I know everybody wants to talk about like, say like, oh yeah, I'm depressed and all that, but like I do have depression that like runs in my family and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I definitely do feel like a low line depression day to day. And I'm pretty good at like controlling it. And I guess like that's like the reason why I am going back to therapy. You know what I mean? It's just, it kind of like that cycle of just like the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean? And it can kind of get to your head. And I notice that like it kind of goes up and down a lot with me. Like I'll feel really good in parts of the day, and some days or some parts of the day I feel kind of shitty. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I've never been diagnosed with any mental illness, but a lot of my family has,
Yeah.
and I do feel as if I exemplify symptoms of a few illnesses. Um, depression being one of them.
Yeah.
And so I do understand that feeling of up and down, right? And therapy has always been a big back of my mind thing. And I applied for BetterHelp, and then, that online service. And then I was just like, I think I essentially just chickened out. I saw how much it was. It was like $100 per session or something like that. I don't even remember.
It's like also when you're living in Canada, it's like you got to pay more.
Do you?
Yeah, because you don't have insurance here.
Oh, like
generally, I'm not entirely sure, but
I think it depends. In all honesty, I think I might get some stuff from my current work, which I'm gonna look into.
Yeah, I'm sure they offer something.
Yeah, but yeah, it has been a little bit like, I feel like just in general, I would be better off getting some.
I've had some pretty positive experiences.
That's what I hear from a lot of people.
Yeah.
I also see some people using it as a crutch, which I don't fully support.
Yeah, but that's their problem. That's not yours.
Yeah, but, it's hard when it's someone close to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like, I am because I have not been good at meditating lately.
But, I've been meditating almost every day, like 15 minutes a day.
I would meditate. I've been meditating every day since like 2018. And I've found great help in that, right? Just slowing down and
when do you usually meditate?
Either after work or before bed. But this past like 2 weeks, I haven't been super good at it. And I feel like that's just because I have had a lot of stuff going on, but it's like that's when you need to meditate, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, well, I should do this. And then I haven't really been lately. But no, meditation I've found super good, and I in general do like Vipassana, which is like goal oriented meditation.
I've heard of Vipassana, yeah.
Yeah,
honestly, all I do, I have this app. There's this Buddhist monk that I listen to a lot. He died like a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago.
Like
his name is Thich Nhat Hanh.
Yeah,
I probably mentioned you
mentioned
him before. But there's like he created this like basically a monastery called Plum Village, and Plum Village has an app, and they have a meditation timer. So I usually meditate for 15 minutes before I go to bed, and there's a bell. The bell rings every 5 minutes, so I know where I'm at in meditation.
That's good.
Yeah. And I just focus on my breath. That's all I try to do. I focus on my breath, and then my mind always gets taken off my breath, and then I just go back to focusing on my breath, and that's all my meditation is.
That's good. That's a good way to start. My so I initially started with the breath, right? Thinking like just focusing on where my breath is and that sort of thing. And then the next thing I did from there was start going sense by sense. So what is everything I see right now? What is everything I
Yeah,
smell?
I've done that too.
What is everything I hear? What is everything I feel? You know, all that sort of thing. And then also I personally added what is it I feel like emotion wise. And I found that to be super helpful just because I'm not trying to be judgmental of myself, but I'm just trying to be aware of what are the emotions I'm feeling right now. But yeah, and then essentially it came down to once I kind of got a hold of that and able to like click into the idea of presence, right? You know what I mean? Like being in the present and being aware of my surroundings and all that sort of thing. Then it was like, okay, I start with a blank mind and then I ask a question and then I stay there until the question is answered. And it could be as simple as like, well, it could, most of the time it's, what do I do? Right? Just in general in my life, I try to be as specific as possible.
Yeah.
But, a lot of the times too, I think my go-to is like, what am I thankful for? Right?
Yeah.
I think that's like my go-to if I am just meditating for consistency's sake. My go-to is like, what am I thankful for? And then I start thinking about like, what am I thankful for? And I realize that, and then once essentially my meditation only lasts as long as I answer the question. Which, lately, I only meditate for like 5 minutes,
Okay.
Maybe less, but there are times here and there when I need to meditate for a good like 30 or something. Just to like sit and really drill in onto something that's been on my mind for a long time and like clear some stuff up.